What's going on, everybody? Hope you're all having a fantastic day today. Now today, I wanted to go ahead and make an appreciation post for Battlefield 1 and talk about how fantastic this game truly is, because the other day I went ahead and live streamed, obviously once again I said it in yesterday's video, but I went ahead and live streamed this game, and I don't really play it too consistently. You know, I usually bounce in and out of Battlefield 1 on the occasion. 2042 was supposed to be the game that I really religiously came back and played over and over and over again, but it just didn't turn out to be that game. So Battlefield has kind of been out of the topic recently. But one game I always love to come back to is Battlefield 1. And every time I return to this title, it's just insane to me. A game that was made in the year of 2016, I believe, all of these years later. And it still feels like the most modern Battlefield game out of them all. And I'm not talking about modern, like obviously time period, but technology-wise, gameplay-wise, everything. It just feels perfect. I think as a community, we can all come together and say, even though if you don't like Battlefield 1, because I understand the time period is what truly threw this game off for a lot of individuals. You know, nobody wants to play a World War I shooter. Barely anybody wants to play even a World War II shooter. People love modern technology, near-futuristic technology. They like to be able to relate a little bit better to what's going on in the environment. But, like I said, regardless of your opinions for Battlefield 1, my goodness, the atmosphere of this game is hands down one of the best atmospheres I've ever felt in any Battlefield title. The way DICE was able to portray World War I, but still keeping it feeling arcadey, was just mind-boggling. Because I thought this was impossible to do. Every World War I shooter that has ever been released is more of a milsim. You know, extremely realistic, and obviously we all know what World War I is. It's not going to be the most action-packed, aggressive war out there, like you see, with modern combat and all these vehicles coming in and swooping through, explosions everywhere, the more modern, weaponry that we have. It's nothing like that. But just because it takes place during World War I doesn't mean that the lack of technology and equipment that you have reduces your ability to be able to push more often and, handle situations better. Like I said, DICE handled it perfectly. I can push, I can be aggro, and the way they still bounced out fully automatic weapons in this game to give everybody a little bit of something. So people who really want that World War I experience of using semi-automatic weapons and stuff like that, you can totally do that. But for individuals who can't stand that type of gameplay, like I said, even though World War I revolves all around that stuff, they still branched out far enough to give us a bunch of fully automatic weapons, which probably weren't even used during the time period. I'm sure some of them were, but the mass majority, yeah, absolutely none. But still, it adds to the environment to make the gameplay a little bit faster paced for the time period of this title. And they're still able to give us the atmosphere of how gruesome and gory and horrifying these first, two world wars were. World War I was no joke. It was a very creepy war, and they were able to give you that immersion while still being able to push outside of those historically accurate boundaries. And that's the best part about Battlefield 1. It allows people who are history geeks, people who really, love historically accurate video games, to enjoy this title, while still branching out enough for casual players like me who don't really mind, too much of the history side, and just care a lot about if the game just plays really good. The developers still allowed a way for us to come in and play this game and enjoy it with, like I said, all the fully automatic weapons. And it wasn't so far out there and so far-fetched that it pissed people off and triggered the people who, wanted the core experience to be more World War I based. Because with all honesty, the guns were pretty darn balanced. I would say the LMGs are probably the most OP because, like I said, a lot of the guns in this game are semi-auto, or the fully automatic weapons are mostly SMGs. So if you really want that long-range to medium-range advantage, an LMG is perfect. Low recoil, high damage, fully automatics, pretty much the only ones in the game, really, that, have a little bit of range to them. They were just fantastic all around. But still, the semi-automatic guns could compete with everything, and they always felt so rewarding and satisfying to get a kill with. So like I said, even though there are fully automatic guns to mess around with, and the SMGs, obviously, you can't use them at long range or anything like that, so if you have a semi-automatic weapon, you can easily distance the fight and, make it better in your favor. So if historical accuracy is probably the most important factor for you, then no, yeah, the semi-automatic weapons are really good in this game. They feel reliable, and as long as you place yourself correctly, you're going to have a blast using them, and you can compete with all the fully automatic guns in this game. With all honesty, the overall atmosphere of Battlefield 1 is just super duper duper casual. And for me personally, I feel like that's what makes it such a fantastic game. It's something that a lot of games nowadays are lacking because they're pushing way too hard in the MLG competitive ways of gaming nowadays. That's what FPS is going towards. Call of Duty used to be one of the most casual games out there. Now you can't even find a lobby without over half the people sweating their damn butts off. It's just mind-boggling. So that's what Battlefield 1 gives me, because ever since day one, all the way up until current date, it has been just a stupidly casual game, and it's not because of the player base, it's just how the game was designed. The guns are all decently balanced. The sniper rifles had certain areas of the body that you could shoot them at a certain range that could one-shot. You know, the movement is simplistic, it's nothing too insane. You could slide, and that's about it. It didn't give you any momentum boost or nothing. So basically everybody, all you had to do was just sprint around. Everything was there. It was simple, and it felt like Battlefield, and at the end of the day, that's all people were asking for. The biggest problem for Battlefield 1, in my personal opinion, was just the lack of content. Everything else was there. The atmosphere, everything. It was all lined up. It's just it didn't have any content for such a long time. And still up to this date, even with Battlefield 2042, we are suffering with the same exact thing. That's something that's going to have to change down the road. Even if they do make a good Battlefield game, just like with Battlefield 1, the community will not be happy with it if there's no content. But shoot, even in Battlefield 1, the team play is better than what we see nowadays. Everything is very simplistic to use, between throwing ammo out to individuals, healing teammates. I mean, all you have to do in this game to revive a teammate off the ground is stab them. You quickly jolt them. You don't have to do any animation, no pickups, nothing. You just jab them with your pen and you move on with your day. It encourages people to play like a team, because, you know, nowadays they try to go through all these extra animations and these charge ups and stuff like that, which is all good and all, and it, you know, makes it a little bit more difficult to heal people and do stuff like that. But what it leads to is individuals doing nothing but being medics just to heal themselves. Because why would they go out of the way, especially if they want to go on long streaks and stuff like that, why would they go out of the way to help out a teammate in the middle of the open if it's going to take about 10 seconds for them to pick them up? Compared to if it just takes a second and a half to 2 seconds to just quickly jolt them with your needle and then they're instantly up off the ground. You know, the time difference is huge. And if you're an experienced player, you know timing is everything. Even if you're a good medic and you do revive a ton of people, it doesn't matter. It just logically doesn't make sense to go and risk your life out in the middle of the open if it's going to take 2 sentries to pick someone up, compared to, you know, going out and risking your life if it only takes a second or two to pick them up. It's a massive time difference, which will, you know, determine life or death situations. With all honesty, Battlefield 1 is in my top 3 favorite Battlefield games. You know, the top one, I'm kind of torn between Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. I'm not really that OG of Battlefield guys, so the bad companies and stuff like that, I truly can't give a 110% opinion on, because I was only able to play them over at my friend's house. But the ones that I owned, I'm a little torn between Battlefield 3 and Battlefield 4. But Battlefield 1 will always be up there, because just simply of the fantastic design and the over-the-top atmosphere of this game. Truly, in the future, for any other Battlefield game to come out, this is all I want. I want to see basically Battlefield 1 with a modern day skin, because everything about this game is so immersive, and I can sink in hours and hours and hours of my time into this game without feeling like anything has passed. It'll feel like 5 minutes, and I'll look down and it's been 3 hours already. It's so freaking addicting. And it's all because of the amazing map designs and map layouts and stuff like that, you know, producing fantastic outcomes to battles and great little tight, you know, choke points where it's just intense conflict with explosions and obviously airplanes flying above with tanks rolling up and the horses. We all know about the toxic horses as well. And yeah, there's a fair share of toxic things roaming around in Battlefield 1, but overall, pretty much every FPS game out there has it. Unless you play in a competitive scene, you're going to see some cheesy, toxic stuff being tossed around. At the end of the day, what truly matters is if you have a good time, if you have a good experience. So DICE, more than likely you're probably not watching this video, but if you guys have any plans for the future of this franchise, I really hope you use this game as inspiration, because truly, it has done so many things correctly, and even though it has its flaws here and there, the foundation of this game would be just phenomenal to start from. And like I said, just change the time period, make it modern day, add in a ton of new features, because clearly, you know, technology has evolved from 2016. Hopefully, we can get something pretty darn decent. It just still worries me because a lot of the people who made Battlefield 1 are all gone now, including tons of the OGs who even came before Battlefield 1 are pretty much gone from the studio. It's a lot of newbies here, a lot of newcomers, and a lot of really egotistical management. So it's a little worrying, but I don't know, man. I don't know. If they don't do it, I still have Battlefield 4, I still have Battlefield 3, and I still have Battlefield 1. They are all populated. I don't know about on console, but on PC, the list just never ends. So I will gladly just continuously come back to these games and play this. But ladies and gentlemen, thanks so much for checking out this video. If you enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like. Bones, I hate it, leave a dislike. Also, if you're brand new, enjoy the content, don't forget to subscribe and hit that notification button. Also, want to chat me, there's two ways to do so: Twitter and Discord, both linked down in the description. And also want to catch me live streams of video games and over on Twitch. Link that is in the description as well. But guys, thanks so much for tuning in. See you on the next one. Peace out.